Hey, Nathan.
Yeah?
How would you rate our podcast out of 10?
Oh, out of 10, I'd probably give it a 7.
A 7.
A 7.
Why?
Oh my god, okay, fine. Okay, Brenton, calm down. I'll give it a negative 7 out of 10. Hey dude, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. Yeah,
oh, that's good. That was an actual recreating of the YouTube comments we get on our videos. Like,
yes,
it's like you guys suck. You guys need to do a better podcast and all that kind of stuff.
That's our reaction to it as well. Yeah. It's just
actually we're very lucky. We haven't gotten any hate so far. I mean, you know,
no,
I think because
so
we just give too much of it ourselves. So like,
exactly. Well, we're like our own worst enemies. I think, like literally. So we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We just fuck it up ourselves, and we know we're shit. It's all good. It's all good, guys.
Well, speaking of us being our own worst enemies, the Oscars, Brenton, that chaotic ceremony that just keeps on giving itself more shit. We finally saw it. You and I. We finally gave it a watch, and I want to know your thoughts on this year's ceremony, Oscars 2K19. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, it was the Oscars, wasn't it? I mean, they got up there, they gave some golden statues to some celebrities and other people too, and it was a. You know what? I'll say this. It was a better
I will say this.
It was a better ceremony than the past few years. I'll say that.
Oh, 100%.
And we kind of got through the awards a bit quicker, I think. And yeah, that was good.
Yeah, so, I was surprised how well it worked without a host, because I thought, because I would have loved to see Kevin Hart stand up. I thought he would have done a great job with it.
Me too. Me too. Yeah.
No, I thought it was actually really great at jumping back and forth. It felt so much shorter, probably because it was, and the actual ceremony itself I enjoyed. What I didn't enjoy, Brenton, because you and I have a long history together of in our private lives of betting on the Oscars. So we always send each other nominations, that kind of stuff, and we've been doing it for years. But yeah, so what made me upset, Brenton, is that Green Book won Best Picture. That bland by the numbers movie won Best Picture. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah,
dude?
Look, it's a fine film. For me, it's not the worst film I've ever seen win that award. I think it's disappointing to a certain extent because the film, it's fine. I think it's got some great performances in it that carry it. But apart from that, it's just the film itself is by the numbers and kind of.
Maybe you just love it because Aragorn's in it, and you're like, hey.
No, it's not even that. I don't love it at all. I think the film's very meh for me, but I think the performances are good. Yeah, I was so waiting for an upset. I was waiting for a wild card to suddenly win. I would have lost my shit if Black Panther won or something like that, or even Black Klansman or Beale Street. Just something though. You're like, whoa, you never expected to win. I would have loved to have seen The Favourite win. Personally.
Yeah, Favourite would have been great. Literally anyone else would have been better. It's just no one got inspired by Green Book, you know what I mean?
I really didn't want to see Bohemian Rhapsody win, and I didn't really want to see Black Panther to win, to be honest, either. But I feel like it was such a nothing year that it didn't bother me necessarily. I wasn't as invested anyway. Speaking of our betting, though, I will have everyone in our audience know that Nathan this year got 9 out of 20. I mean, we don't bet on all of the awards.
No,
but 9 out of 20,
we don't care about live action short film and all that kind of stuff.
No.
Yeah. We do the important things.
But Brenton scored 14.
Dude, fuck you. I wasn't gonna bring up that I consistently lose to your scores every year. I wasn't gonna bring it up. But then you're like, oh nah, you know what? Even though we've been doing it for years, Nathan still sucks and he doesn't know how to bet on the Oscars. You know what also annoys me, Brenton? I also do this with my mother, and she also beats me at the Oscars. Actually,
oh no.
Scratch that. Other friends, you're not the only friend in my life, Brenton. Even other friends I do this with, and they beat me at the Oscars. And you know what's even annoying? 9 out of 20 isn't that bad of a score. It's not I'm not egregiously wrong. I'm not in the red here, but everyone I know who I do this with is consistently better than me. Who's someone I know that just doesn't like the actually my father. I'm gonna do this against my father, and that way I'm gonna finally win against someone because I'm bitter, Brenton. I'm just bitter.
You sound bitter. Wait, you don't sound bitter at all.
I gotta get this bitterness out of me, Brenton.
But the moral of the story here is that Brenton won, and it was a good feeling.
Yeah,
It felt good.
yeah. Thanks, dude. Thanks. Oh, by the way, speaking of the Oscars, did you also see the Razzies?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Didn't you? Do you follow
I
the
heard that
Razzies as well?
Holmes and Watson took out some awards. Didn't
Yeah,
they? I'm
Holmes
pretty
and
sure.
Watson won. Trump won. Basically any Republican who was
Trump
on that
won?
one. Yeah, because Trump was in the documentary. Michael Moore's Fahrenheit 11/9.
Right.
And so
yeah.
the Razzies nominated him because, of course, they could, because Hollywood, hates Trump more than Nazis by this point. And so they're like, we'll just give him a Razzie. And I wish he rocked up to do a speech, because that would have been amazing. I would have just been like, oh, I just would have loved it. Because have you seen Sandra Bullock's and Halle Berry's Razzie speeches?
I have, and they're wonderful, and there's something just awesome about just rocking up and accepting that award, especially for Halle Berry, because she'd won the Oscar the year previously.
Yeah, and she rocked up with her Oscar, so I respect her so much for that. And I haven't seen Catwoman. I've seen bits of it, but yeah, she deserved it.
I hope, my dream is that I will never win a Razzie one day, but no guarantees, guys. And if I do, I promise you, I will rock up to that ceremony and I will rock it.
Dude, you gotta grab it, dude. I will be there with you. I hope.
Yeah, you can be. If one of us wins a Razzie, here's the deal: we go as each other's date for the night. That's
it. That's what we're doing. We'll rock up and we'll be like, oh, we actually do a movie podcast as well. Yeah. Oh, that'd be fantastic. Yeah. Well, when Olivia Colman did her great speech this year, and she's like, she mentioned how she used to be a cleaner and she loved it, and now she's doing this.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Olivia, you're just so inspiring. It's I love that woman so much, and I'm like, you're above.
I
the
do
breed.
too. I'm so glad to see her. I was so happy for her when she won.
Oh yeah.
And obviously, I bet that she was going to win, but part of me didn't really believe it was going to happen. But there's a side of my brain that leading up to it, I was like, I think she's going to win this award. And funnily enough, she did, and it was just a great moment. And it was a human moment. It was humble and it was honest, and yeah, just a nice, sweet moment, heartfelt. Probably my favorite speech of the night, I think.
Oh, it was my favorite too, and it was a good balance against my non-favorite part, which was when Willem Dafoe didn't win an Oscar. Brenton.
Well, you're always welcome on the show to grieve with us, because we grieve with you.
Oh, I tell you what, and I love the clip that they played at Eternity's Gate as well, where it was like a slow zoom of him being Van Gogh, and he was just like,
man, I want to see that film. That clip was really, really good. He
looks so good. I was just waiting for him to look into the lens and say, I'm something of a painter myself.
I was hoping that he'd look down that lens and say, back to formula.
Wouldn't that be amazing if you watch At Eternity's Gate expecting a Vincent Van Gogh film, and then next minute it's just him on a goblin glider, just running about, just throwing bombs at the French countryside, and he's just going crazy, and you realize that a Starry Night. You realize that a Starry Night is actually, inspiration, because he got that view when he was on a goblin glider. I would love that.
Oh man.
Before he cuts his ear off, he has that monologue in the mirror, and he's just like talking to himself. He's like,
and
then he just starts
the heart. Go for the heart. And he cuts off his ear. It's no, wrong idea.
Oh my god. Oh, that'd be so good. I love it. As he's painting, he's the itsy bitsy spider, and he's just stroking the paintbrush, oh
my fucking god. But I gotta say, Vincent Van Gogh, I'm so excited about that film, because Vincent Van Gogh is my favorite artist.
Oh wow.
I really want to see that movie. I've been so excited about it, and I just haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I will. And when I do, I will inform you guys on my opinion, and I'm sure it's gonna be. I'm sure it's gonna be solid.
We had to throw him in there. We had to throw that Willem Dafoe. So,
but speaking of Willem Dafoe, that kind of ties us in, I guess, back to our show.
Yes,
which is Welcome to Classic Movie Banter.
Movie Banter.
We are that podcast that reviews films that are 20 years or older, and that makes them classic. And we give our thoughts on them, and we throw in some Aussie banter in there for some good measure. Now, my name is Brenton, and this is...
I am Nathan, but I'm a bellhop Nathan, because we are here at the Seven Seasons, and I am welcoming you to the Seven Seasons, Brenton.
So we're not actually even though I just did that lovely introduction,
yeah,
we're not going to review a film.
We're kicking it out the front door. It's overstayed its welcome. We've booted it out. It hasn't paid the hotel fee, and we're changing the rules, Brenton. Just like we did with Godfather, we're changing the podcast game, Brenton. We're just innovators.
Exactly. Exactly. And not only that, but, once the seasons change, we just throw in a little seasonal episode just to change things up as
We're
well.
We're out of summer. And summer's old news. We're kicking summer out of the hotel as well. No more summer vibes. No more Calvin Harris. Instead, we're going into autumn. We've dived into the Frozen 2 trailer, and it's just autumn leaves everywhere. And we're now just getting ready in the summer hemisphere for a new change.
Exactly. So here we are. 7 seasons. We call it 7 seasons because in these episodes we do a top 7, not a top 10. We do a top 7 because why not?
10. Psh, who can count to 10, Brenton? Too high, I say. Who has the ability to count to 10? I say 7's a far easier number.
I agree. So we do top 7s on anything to do with film or anything we want, really.
Sometimes just random topics. We've done movie lines. We've done movie experiences.
Exactly.
And Brenton, we're shifting gear this week. What are we going to do for this 7 seasons?
So I came up with this idea the other day, and I ran it by you, and Nathan seemed to like it. Today we are doing the classic movie banter, top 7 out of 10s.
Because we went on last week about how, because we mentioned ratings last week with Godfather, how saying, if the movie's a 7 out of 10, that's just your personal feelings about it. And it got you thinking, dude. It got you thinking about, well, what if because there are films that are very much a 7 out of 10 movie. Because when you were pitching this to me, you're like, this is very well defined as a 7 out of 10 film. And I'm like, yeah. So in your words, what is your definition of a 7 out of 10 film?
So a 7 out of 10, Nathan and I both have made our own list of 7 films that we think are personally 7 out of 10s. We're not going off some IMDb rating or off some Rotten Tomatoes.
No, this is just personally what
Nothing
we would
official.
rate it, yeah.
This is just what we would rate it as a 7 out of 10. And the idea of this is to make you guys know that there's nothing wrong with a 7 out of 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of my favorite movies.
Even if you yourself are a 7 out of 10.
There's nothing wrong with it. And some of my favorite movies, films, personally, are 7 out of 10s. And they're just good experiences that do what they need to do. And I'd rather, swim in 7s. Why not? Let's celebrate that.
Why watch a perfect masterpiece of cinema? Why watch the Godfather trilogy when you can watch one of our films? So, and also for this episode, for all of our 7 season episodes, we suspend our 20-year rule and we talk about all cinema.
Yes.
From the birth of the medium to yesterday, Brenton. So we do it all.
So I say let's get cracking. And
right.
Nathan, I'd like to know, what is the first film on your list?
So in my top 7 out of 10 films, starting this list off, is an iconic film from the 2000s. It's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory from Tim Burton.
As in Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yes. Dude, this is a 7 out of 10 movie.
This is a 7 out of 10 movie, I agree.
Dude, I love this movie so much, but I so understand why it's not a perfect film, and it's like this for a number of reasons. I think, this film is often not looked favorably upon, on the internet, because of people who are nostalgic for that original film, with with the amazing soundtrack and the original Wonka and all that kind of stuff. But when I saw this movie, I was that perfect age of a 10-year-old child, where I was in New Zealand, I was on this holiday seeing some family, and we went to the cinemas because it was shit weather that day, and we saw that movie, and I remember wanting to do nothing else that trip because I just wanted to buy chocolate bars and just get transported to that chocolate factory. I think this film is the perfect balance of awe and wonder when you're a child, of almost like when you first see Hogwarts, that escapism. You're you could just spend weeks just running about inside there and just having amazing adventures just inside that building. And I'm
for sure.
This is just so cool. I remember watching that movie, whenever they go past rooms, on that weird ass boat in the Chocolate River, whenever they go past a room, like a lolly room or a jelly bean room, and you didn't get to go in, I was always what's behind that room? You're so curious. When they get in that glass elevator and there's a billion buttons and you're whoa, what's in all these weird ass rooms? It's so intriguing. I also think that this film has an amazing soundtrack. I love the original one's music is very heartwarming. If you wanna dream paradise, that's in the original. But these ones, I love the new funky kind of rhythm that it builds up, Augustus Gloop.
The Great Battery Lincoln.
It's great. I love the squirrel song. I love the ha. I love chewing all day long. They're all bangers. They're all so good. Like, I used to sing them heaps as a kid. So, that's why I love it, Brenton. Do you love this movie?
Dude, it's a great pick. It gets a lot of hate, and part of me understands why. I understand why it's a 7 out of 10. I think that's a fair rating. Obviously, I think the third act has major issues once we... Because obviously the film establishes... It adds to Wonka's backstory with his father, who was a dentist. Spoiler alert, by the way, for all these films that we're about to talk about.
Like all of them. Like all the ones we mentioned. So you said the title, just tune off if you haven't seen it.
So once we reach the end of Roald Dahl's novel, of the plot of that, where Charlie's given the choice and says, please take over my factory, Charlie refutes Mr. Wonka's offer and says, if my family can't come, then fuck you, I'm going back home to live in a slum.
Then I'm going home.
So he goes home and then we have to have this reconciliation between Wonka and Charlie, which is then mixed up with
This is a weird scene where he shines his shoes and you're like, why is Freddie Highmore shining this grown man's shoes? Like, it's a weird scene. Like,
why not? Why not? Yeah, and so we have this, weird reconciliation between Wonka and his father. And Freddie Highmore's just chilling there, kind of staring creepily at them both at this awkward hug between the father and the son.
Who was the genius that cast Christopher Lee and Johnny Depp together as father and son?
I'm telling you, that person was a genius. Genuinely.
Like, it's amazing. Like, it's so weird, but like, it works so well.
Exactly. So yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I must say, as a child, I was petrified watching child Johnny Depp have braces when like his father made him go through them. Because like, as a kid, I thought, because I didn't know anyone with braces by that age yet, I thought that's what braces were actually like. So when I turned 12, and I was like one of the first people in the grade that got told you have to get braces, I thought I was going to get that on my face. And I was like, oh no! And I'm like, I'm going to be behind some fucking mousetrap for like a year and a half. And then it wasn't until I actually rocked up to the orthodontist that they're like, we don't do that. I'm like, oh, thank God. Curses, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, you've done it again.
Yeah, look, I think the things that make this a 7 out of 10 is, like I said, that third act. Some parts of Johnny Depp's performance.
Ooh, it's very Michael Jackson, isn't it? It's very
which I think is a cool thing to go for, but
it's a very interesting choice,
it's just
isn't it?
A bit. Let's talk about just because it's a great moment, that scene where the glass elevator is about to go out of the top of the building.
Oh yeah,
it's like we're going up, and the fucking laugh he does, the. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, because the grandpa and Charlie are both freaking the fuck out because they think they're going to be murdered. And he's like, ha 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 ha. And they're like, where are we going? And he's like, up. And like, every time I catch an elevator on like a really high building, like if we're going back to floor 80, I always like turn to my mate and he's like, oh, what floor are we? And I always just say, up, up and away. And I do Johnny Depp's creepy laugh. And they're like, excuse me. And the elevator will go up and I'll be like, ha ha ha. It's so stupid. But I love it.
I've never been in an elevator with you where we've been going. I've never said that. But next time we're in an elevator, the first thing I'll be saying is, so, which floor?
I'll be like, we're just going up. It's so great.
Dude, what a way to start the episode. Great choice, man.
Oh, cheers. Thank you. Thank you.
So, Nathan, now that we've spoken about your top, your number 7.
That's Charlie. Charlie is done. What?
Charlie's done. Let's get into my 7th film. And again, this is in...
I mean, they're all ranked 7 out of 10, so it is stupid that we are ranking them.
My number 7 is Tremors.
Tremors?
Have you heard of this movie?
I have not heard of the film Tremors. What is the film Tremors, Brenton?
Alrighty. Tremors, okay. I have to explain this now, and I wasn't expecting to have to pitch
I'm so
Tremors.
sorry.
So, I'm just going to look... I'm just in the process right now of getting my notes up.
Oh, okay.
On Tremors, which is perhaps one of my honestly, this is a good time, and I've been thinking for a while that I really want to review this film for the show.
Oh, okay.
I think it would be the perfect classic movie.
Oh, fantastic! Well, give me that pitch, man.
What do you guys think? Let us know. Let us know. So this film is a film from 1990, and it stars Kevin Bacon.
Okay. So peak Kevin Bacon then, if it's early 90s.
Yes, it stars Kevin Bacon. It's set in Nevada.
Okay.
And it's this group of people that are obviously in this small town Nevada, like out in the desert, and they realize that basically that there are these tremors in the ground.
What?
And there's these things start happening. There's these horrible things start happening, and there's people that are being sucked into the ground, and there's these like earthquake type things happening, and it's not a good time. And as the film progresses, we find out that maybe that these tremors are being caused by giant monsters under the ground that are coming up and feasting on the humans in Nevada.
Dude, this sounds like a shit movie. This sounds like a horrible B-side, like 90s movie.
Dude, this is an American monster movie.
From 1990. What are the effects on this movie?
And it's from the 90s, and it's so fucking good, dude. It's so good.
Okay.
It's so ridiculous. It's so funny.
Okay.
It doesn't take itself too seriously at all. It's again, we're not talking about the best movies ever made, but it's a solid 7.
It's
dude.
a solid 7 out of 10. So it's a lot of like, do they fight the monsters? Is that a part of it?
Well, they got to figure out a way to kill them, dude. They got to figure out a way to survive.
Okay. How?
And the characters are zany. Like Kevin Bacon's character is just like off the rails. It's so zany, over the top, and just bonkers fun.
Oh, that's so good.
I wish I could talk more about this, but I just want you to see it.
Oh, okay. So this is more just like watch this movie and then we'll go dive into it.
Yeah, dude. That's all I kind of want to say about it.
Is it like what stops it from being a 10 out of 10 film? What's like the detractor?
It just can't be a 10 out of 10.
I love that. It's like you can see like when the guy went into the Hollywood office to pitch it, like to the producer, he was just like, "Now look, I want to make this film. It's going to be a great film." But there's no possibility this film can be a perfect film. This 10 out of 10. It's like, does the premise alone just defeat it from being an amazing film?
All right, hold a quick thought. I'm going to look up the tomato meter score for Tremors.
Okay.
Just super quickly, because I think it's worth it's worth considering. Okay, so I called this a 7 out of 10, and the film holds an 85% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, fantastic. Actually, that is something we should have done for these movies, see how the general public react to these compared to our own 7 out of 10s.
Maybe, but like let's not overcomplicate this too much, but I think it's worth saying that like it's not just me.
No, it's not
like,
just
you. It's not just like some vague fucking movie.
But like the way you've pitched it makes it sound like a really shit film, but like
Dude, the it's like an homage to those shit movies.
Oh, okay.
But it's like it's so much fun.
Okay.
Dude.
No,
It's
this
like
is good. I'm keen. You're making
Kevin
me keen.
Bacon Tremors. Dude, I want to review it on the podcast at some stage. I don't know when it's going to happen, but solid 7. Solid 7.
Love it, dude. I'm keen. You've sold me. I agree with you. I'm with you on the 7 out of 10. And you know what? Let's put it on the list, Brenton. Let's add it to the roster. So I love it.
So Nathan, tell me what your next
my
film
second
is.
7 out of 10 film, number 6, is the iconic film Bruce Almighty.
Dude, you freaking legend! This was nearly on my list. It was on my list at one stage, dude, and I'm kind of regretting that I didn't put it on. To be honest,
that's so good.
But because to be honest, I would almost say that like Bruce Almighty is like a 7.58 out of 10.
Oh,
like,
dude,
for me.
yeah.
I love Bruce Almighty. I watched this movie so much growing up. I think it's
same.
I think it's one of Jim Carrey's best. But hey, this is your pick, so you talk about it.
No,
dude.
I'm glad you're passionate about it, dude. Because like I'm 100% with you. I think this is one of his strongest films. Which is saying something that's only 7 out of 10. But like I think it's so much fun. If you don't know the premise of Bruce Almighty, it's where Jim Carrey you know, is he's not a good, he's you know, he's a little bit down in his luck, being, you know, at the news station, and, you know, he wishes his life was better, and he blames God for not giving him a good life, so God decides to retire and give Jim Carrey all of his powers and says, right, if you don't like me, then you try being God, and you see how you deal with it. And then Jim Carrey ends up having lots of fun antics being God.
Dude.
And he's married to Jennifer Aniston, and like peak Jennifer Aniston when she was like in Friends. You know, and like it's so much fun as a film. Like it's kind of like how you pitch Tremors, like not just as a child, I've watched this as an adult, like just from start to finish. It's like the most 90s film you could get from the 90s, because it's that classic, like, imagine a world. It's like that kind of film where it's like, where Jim Carrey is, like, the god.
Was it the 90s? Was this film the 90s?
Actually, no, it might have been early 2000s, actually. I lie. Maybe.
I swear it was the early 2000s.
Maybe it was early 2000s. But it feels the 90s. It feels like a 90s film. Like, because it's got Morgan Freeman. It's got, like, a dog. It's got, you know, that high concept kind of attitude. Like, was it early 2000s? It must be early 2000s. I must be fooling myself.
It's 2003.
Oh,
yeah.
there you go. Then.
But
yeah. So, but
dude.
I don't care. I still love this film, and like it. There's some great moments in it where Jim Carrey, Jim Carrey becomes God in the same way that anyone else would become God. Like, he just does dumb shit with the power he's been given. Like, he orders coffee directly from like South America. Like, he makes like, what is it, like a monkey like jump out of a man's ass. Like, there's just,
dude, it's too good.
It's so good.
It's too
My
good.
favorite scene is when he's making bloody Steve Carell speak gibberish as a news anchor.
Yes.
On television.
Yes. It is so good.
It's so It's so stupid.
The president of Washington, the president visited Washington today, and my tiny little nipples went to France.
That's the best quote from the movie.
God.
Oh, it's so good. I love when he parts the sea and it's the red soup, but it's just like going a different direction.
It's so good. Great pick, man. Great pick. That is a solid. Oh, I would say it's a solid.
The thing
8.
that doesn't, okay, so I'll defend it then. The thing that doesn't make it a 10 out of 10 film, or even higher in my eyes than a 7, is that it's a little bit, the story itself is a little bit by the books of the redemption arc. Like, you can, like, there's no real surprises with the plot. Like, it's about Jim Carrey becoming a better person, and he's learned, like, all the lessons are a little bit obvious. Like all the gags are great, but like in the same way that he learns how he can't answer all the prayers, how, you know, he has to try and help people and that kind of stuff, how he becomes all like sappy and lovey by the end of it. It is kind of like, it's a little bit too sweet for me personally.
I get what you're saying, but
the gags, they just hold it up so good. Like,
good pick. Well done. I applaud you, man. That's so good.
Thank you, Brenton. What's your one?
So moving on to my film number 2. I'm looking at the list and I'm tossing up what to say next. I think what I'm gonna say is Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore's back. Dude, you love Happy Gilmore like a fish loves water. Like
Happy Gilmore. It's not the best movie ever made, but that's why we're calling it a 7 out of 10, people.
Yeah.
This movie is one of Adam Sandler's better comedies that he's done. It's stupid. It's idiotic at the same time.
For people who don't know Happy Gilmore, maybe just give a quick pitch.
It's about I was literally about to do it, dude.
Oh,
I just
sorry.
need to say one sentence. One short sentence. It's about an amateur ice hockey player with major anger issues that takes up golf.
It's a great premise.
Because he has a 400-yard drive. Like, naturally. It's Apollo Creed is in it. It's fucking awesome, dude. It's
whenever there's a cast member from the Rocky franchise, you know it's a good movie.
Dude, yeah, and the reason it's not a 10, again, I would say, is because some of the comedies, some of the jokes don't land in that classic Sandler style. Like, it's just a mixture of, like, a bunch of different humor. Like, most of it's stupid, and then some of it's just like, what the fuck? I'm thinking at the moment of just moments from the film, just to throw some out there. Like, Ben Stiller in the retirement home. Oh my fucking god! Like, as the guy with like the handlebar mustache, and like, you know, when the grandma comes in, she's like, "Oh, I'd love a glass of warm milk, please." And he's like, "How about you shut the hell up?" It's like,
have you been using
so
these
good.
quotes in real life, Brenton?
Sometimes. I mean, like, the other things in it are just like the character of Shooter McGavin.
Oh my god!
Like, it's just perfect. Like, so funny, so stupid. Not the best movie, kind of.
What stops it from being a 10?
Yeah, well, just some of the humor just doesn't land.
Oh, okay. So just the jokes themselves. Like, you think the story's solid and all that kind of stuff? Like,
oh, it's fine. Like, it is what it is. There are some contrivances and, like, you know, but like, I guess, like, as a storyboard, it makes sense. There's no plot holes. It is what it is.
It is what
man.
it is. And like, as far as like the Adam Sandler canon goes, it is on the better end of it. So like,
yeah, it's definitely, yeah. So yeah, that's my number 2 pick, Happy Gilmore.
Fantastic, dude. Well done. I'll give that a 7 out of 10. My next one that I want to say on my top 7 list, is James Cameron's Avatar.
Oh god, really?
I would give that
Why is this on your list?
As in, it's too high or too low for it to be a 7 out of 10?
No, just that. Why is this one of your favorite top 7s?
This is on my favorite top 7 lists. Because when it came out, I mean, for a couple of reasons. Okay, so when it came out, like I remember, like my parents and I were the last ones to see this movie. I remember like it made $2 billion at the box office, and it was out for like months before we actually finally rocked up to a cinema to see it. Because everyone on the planet was like, "You gotta see Avatar." I'm like, I don't know if I want to see blue aliens running about. But then we finally saw it, and like the visual effects were outstanding at the time. And I remember thinking they just animated this. I'm like, this is remarkable. But I recently watched Avatar again. And it's so funny because the CGI actually doesn't hold up.
Oh no,
yeah.
Really?
Like it's still good, but like it's not like as good as today. And it makes me think how outdated these films are going to be like soon. So I'm glad that James Cameron's making like 4 fucking sequels to these movies that are just going to all come out at once. But I think it's a 7 out of 10 because not just because of the visual effects, but like the movie takes its time, which I think for a modern blockbuster doesn't really do that much these days. Like you spent ages getting to know the Na'vi and like learning about their culture and that kind of stuff. I think Sigourney Weaver is like the best she's been in years in like this film, and I love seeing her as that scientist who's always like smoking darts and like I'm an avatar, then she's like smokes more darts like. And it is fantastic. Also, just love seeing. I also love the idea of Zoe Saldana doing like the motion capture for Neytiri, and she's just like Jake Sully, and she's just like the clenching of her mouth and that kind of stuff.
Jake Sully, we are now mated for life.
Let us have tail sex together, Jake Sully, under my world tree. Like I because also this film I'm sure spurted some weird ass like fandom like fanfic stuff about like bloody Na'vis having like God. You know what I mean?
Can you imagine?
Oh.
Yeah.
Like you know how I feel about fanfic culture after my girlfriend that one time wrote one, so I'm like I can't imagine how like the Na'vi fanfic is going these days. But yeah, and also like I think the film one of the things I also love about the film, I actually hated it at the time but I love it now, it's how long it takes to kill the bad guy at the end. Like, they, like, stab him, shoot him, and knock him down so many bloody times before he finally corks it. It takes so long for him to die, but I love it because it keeps building tension.
Yeah. I have to say, like, I don't know... Okay, I'd probably say the film is... You're right, I think it's probably a 7 out of 10. I think my experience watching the film when I first saw it in 3D... and at the time, like, I'd probably give it an 8.5.
Oh, there you go.
For the experience of watching it in the cinema in 3D with at the time with those visual effects and whatnot. But like, yeah, revisiting it like at home, like watching it on your Blu-ray or whatever. Yeah, it is a 7 out of 10.
It's pretty good. I think what stops it from being a 10, one, because the CGI is getting outdated, but two, like, I don't know, I find like the film's all over the place. Like it wants to be about a lot of different things, and it doesn't really find its complete strict focus because there's a lot of random scenes in there.
Sure.
Yeah. Also, I find the eye twitching in the film really uncomfortable when the camera cuts to them like lying in their little pods, and you see their eyes like rolling about behind their eyelids. I'm like, ooh. I'm like, I don't need to see this kind of shit.
He's kind of like when he's like, you know, he's asleep in his pod, and he's like, his eyes are like.
He looks as though he's having like an aneurysm or something.
No, but his mouth is kind of like just like, you know, like just gaping a little bit. Like it's just like he's just kind of open a little bit, and he's like, oh. Like,
do you know what I wish happened in that movie? I wish I had like the sex scene with like Jake Sully and Neytiri, and they're like fucking as avatars at the tree, and then just like hard cuts to like Sigourney Weaver just like sitting by the monitors, like she's like, you know, we can see what you see. And they're all like just sitting around the computer.
I thought you were gonna say it hard cuts to him in his pod, and he's like, oh.
You just see him like chuckling to himself in the pod, or just got like some like weird boner, just like the camera pans down.
No, like I had the image of it just hard cuts to like his face in the pod, and like his like eyes are writhing around, and his mouth is just again like
he's just like drooling or some shit like that.
Oh, oh man.
Oh.
So yeah, that's your pick number 3, Avatar.
Yeah.
Dude, solid list so far. Yeah. Okay, so the next thing on my list is Talladega Nights.
Hey! Great choice. Is this only a 7?
Oh, I think
it should be higher, mate. This is a great film.
I probably love it more than a 7 personally, but when you think about the actual film itself,
I know.
I think it's a 7. But you know, I think that's the same.
It's like peak Will Ferrell. Like this is like the best shit he's done outside Mugatu. Yeah.
For me, like I know people love Step Brothers, and like that film has such like a culture and like, you know, a history around it, shared history. But for me, the best time the duo of Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly has ever worked,
because it was their first one, wasn't
Talladega Nights. dude, this shit is like off the rails funny. Like,
dude, I wanted to be like a race car driver after watching this. Like,
dude, like it's not even the film itself. Like, just go watch the blooper reel.
Oh
of,
my
like,
God.
Talladega Nights. It's one of like the best blooper reels with like some of the best content ever.
Okay.
Like, so there's a scene where basically when there's a family dinner at near the beginning of the film, and obviously the premise of the film is that Will Ferrell plays this race car, the best race car driver,
the absolute
in the world.
best, yeah,
and he's just like, he's like at the top of his game, and then this Frenchman, played by Sacha Baron Cohen, comes over to the States to like for a challenge and challenges Ricky Bobby to a race, and he beats Ricky, and that's the conflict of the film, and it's about his struggle to come back and reforge his career, I guess. But John C. Reilly plays his best friend, and there's this family dinner at the start of the film, and like basically it opens up and it's like classic, just like American, like rich mansion, but like they're eating like Dominoes. Like they've got like all these fucking boxes of Dominoes, and it's like his beautiful like wife is there. They got their 2 sons. John C. Reilly's there just all the time for some reason, and this Will Ferrell's wife's father's there as well. And it's like, he says this line in the blooper reel, and it's the funniest shit, because like the thing is as well, there's a joke that the 2 sons are just like these little brats, and they're just like horrible little shits, and so they're like carrying on with like their crap and just going off at like, F you Gramps, and like all this stuff, and then grandpa turns around to Will Ferrell's character and says, you gotta let them talk to their grandfather like that, and this is the blooper reel, and Will Ferrell has this response, and he goes, I sure as hell am, Chip! Chip! And everyone just corpses like after the second chip. It's like, it's beautiful. It's so
oh my God.
funny.
I love that so much.
But get back to the actual movie itself, dude, like, this is just such a joy to watch. It's so funny.
If you ever need to pick me up, if you're ever in a shitty mood, just like watch that movie, because it's like it just puts you exactly where you need to be. But like, what stops it from being a 10 in your eyes?
It just can't be a 10. It's
like you're like looking through the telescope and you're like surveying the stars, and you pull your eye out and you're like, Nathan, it just can't.
What it sets out to do, it achieves it. It's a 10 out of 10 on what it sets out to do, but it's not. At the end of the day, these type of comedies, like, they're so kind of fractured in their pacing, because they're like trying to fit all these like one-liners in and stuff, that you can't really call it a great film, but you can call it a great. This is a stupid saying, but you can call it a great like movie.
Yeah,
like, you can like
I hear
watch
you.
it, enjoy it, and appreciate for what it
Isn't it such a shame when you see a film like that, and what a fall from grace that John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell have made making Sherlock Holmes and Watson.
I won't watch that because it'll be too depressing. You know what
just like I'm just like, of all the things you guys could have done, because like, you finally reunited and you're doing all this great stuff, and like, this is the shit that you choose to make after coming back together. I'm like, come on, the world deserves to see another great movie like that,
For sure. With those two, like, they've just got such great chemistry on screen.
Yeah.
Like, and they
even
just,
off screen, when you see them together, they're great and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like, so
they
funny.
were the Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum of their day,
I guess. Yeah,
I suppose.
So yeah, that's my third film.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
My 4th film on the list is a film from 2013. I'm gonna make sure I got the date right this time.
Ooh.
And it is The Great Gatsby from Baz Luhrmann.
Oh, really? Interesting.
That "oh really" was like the perfect response just then. Your tone, like, "Oh really?"
Like, I think it's a 7. Yeah, I do think it's a 7. But again, I'm questioning, like, why is this one of your favorite 7s?
Why is this one of my favorite 7s? Because like, I think for Great Gatsby, like, I think the soundtrack. I think people were very like, at the time, at least my memory of it, were like, oh, is this kind of music appropriate for Great Gatsby? This isn't really like 1920s kind of stuff. But I'm like, no, it is about excess in this film, and like this kind of like hip hop kind of background play to it. Like, I do think it improves on it. Because I remember us, I don't know if we were in the same English class, but I remember, did you ever have to watch the original Great Gatsby film, like from the 60s?
No, I've never seen the original.
Oh, we had to for English. I think in year 11 we had to read the book or something like that, and we also watched the 1960s film, because it was right before the real film, the better film came out. And it's so boring. The original from the 60s is so horrible. But this new one, I was just like, yeah, I'm sold. Like, I remember wanting to live like Gatsby. I remember I was like 16 at the time, and I'm like, yeah, these are my life goals. Like, I think Leo did like Wolf of Wall Street, then he immediately did like he did like Gatsby and Wolf of Wall Street in like the same year. And I'm like, dude, that guy's living the good life. I'm like, I just want to be living like him, you know?
Yeah, I think this film is a 7, and I remember enjoying it when I went. I've only seen it. I think I've seen it twice. But yeah, I think it's really cool that it's one of your favorites.
Yeah, I love the story. Like, obviously it's a better novel than it is a movie, but I thought it was well directed. Like, I think the CGI for Old New York doesn't hold up. I think it's like pretty bad when you see, because it was filmed in Sydney and they try to make Sydney look like Old New York and it doesn't work.
No. Yeah.
And like, as you and I who are in Sydney, we're just like, oh, we recognize that.
They
building.
try.
It's like, yeah,
they do try.
Bless them for trying. But yeah, also, I mean, you know, Spider-Man's Tobey Maguire, isn't it? And he does like a really weird performance in this movie.
In what way?
like he acts like so like bored with all of it. He's just like, oh, are you the Great Gatsby? And he like angles his head as he does it, and like he just acts so reserved, and he's constantly confused. He's like, why are we going to this house? What are you thinking, Daisy? Why am I talking to this person? He's just constantly questioning things. And he's just like, are you going to give me a job, Gatsby? And like, I don't know. It's just, I'm kind of finding him boring as a protagonist.
Yeah, I remember really enjoying both DiCaprio and Joel Edgerton's performance in this
Oh
one.
yeah, Joel Edgerton's great. But he's always great in everything he does. He's just like, he's always that universal, like, oh, Joel Edgerton is in this. This will be good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, dude, good. I think it's a good choice. I think it's a really solid choice.
Yeah.
And I can understand, like, this story, it's universal, and it's one of the greatest. It's one of the great stories.
It is.
Told,
it's like part of the great American novel.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, you know, it's a great film about excess, and like, I know I find that whole culture of America just overindulging is just so prevalent, and so. Yeah, I just found that fascinating to watch, and I think the soundtrack is great, and what did hold it back for me was I probably think. Yeah, the thing that doesn't make it a 10 for me is that it tries to be too quickly paced, because it tries to chew through a lot of the book, and so it doesn't really let any moments really breathe and that kind of stuff. So, I found that when I was watching it.
So I guess I will go on to my, what are we up to now?
Your fourth one?
My number 4. Yeah, but my fourth film. And, oh my god, you're gonna like, this is an interesting one. But stick with me here, people. Please stick with me here. This is from a franchise. I'll start off by saying that. And it's not the franchise you may be thinking, people.
Okay.
Because my fourth top 7 out of 10 is the original Spy Kids.
Whoa! Excuse me. That is a 10 out of 10 film. You cannot touch the original Spy Kids. How dare you even suggest that's a 7 out of 10 film? I am challenging you on this.
That is a 7 out of 10.
Excuse me. That's a 7 out of 10 film.
Watch it.
That is the peak of cinema.
Watch it again. Watch it
Man,
again.
I saw this film last year. You go. You fight this fight, Brenton.
Okay. What I was going to say is that this film is in the category of say a Grinch. It's not perfect. It's kind of stupid.
Spy Kids is a perfect film. It is the peak of cinema. It is so good. It is so good on so many levels. Like, when was this film made? Is it older than 20 years? It must be getting close.
Oh, it'd be early 2000s again, yeah.
When we get to it, 500% we're doing a full episode on the Spy Kids.
Look, again, I rate it kind of like, it's one of my favorite experiences as a film, because I watched this film so much as a kid that I love it, but I can only put it in this category to be like, this is such a good 7 out of 10 for like young people, or like anyone really, to just have an imaginative experience and live out those childhood fantasies of being some kind of spy or superhero as like a 7-year-old, you know?
Oh, dude, Spy Kids is like the personification of like a child's dreams. Like, it's like literally like if you just take like an 8-year-old boy and you just write and you say, okay, 8-year-old boy, write down like what you want to. If you could do anything right now, you had unlimited access to resources, power, all that kind of stuff, what would you do? This would be what an 8-year-old child wants to do. Like, it is so much fun. It's like, this is a kid's film that could never exist today. They would never make it today, because it's just so ridiculous and so much fun. It's just, I think it's the reason every kid wants to be a spy at some point in their lives. Like, I remember like every child, like everyone in our grade when this movie came out, like immediately started buying all the spy gear you can at toy stores.
Yes.
And like I remember having a shitload of spy toys because of this movie.
Yeah. Do you remember the Scholastic book
Yes.
fair? Like
Oh
how
my
they'd send out like, and like they would have those like sections like in the pamphlets, like when you ordered it through your school or whatever, that would
had this
that would include like boxes of spy gear and shit along with like books and things, and
like
you know,
every child
yeah.
like badgered their parents. They'd like bring home this magazine where you'd like put an online order and like wait 4 weeks and you get all this like stuff. I remember like everyone just like hassling everyone for like spy toys. They're like, I want to spy on everyone. And then I remember like going to school and you would find like listening recorders in like people's bags, and I'm like, is this the end of privacy? Like, and just like people like with like bloody like listening radars like walking around the playground. I'm like, this is bizarre. I'm like, guess I can't talk about my school crushes anymore. Like,
yeah, my parents would never let me get any of that spy stuff.
oh no, dude, you missed out on the trend. Now that you're an adult, would you buy it for yourself now?
I'd get some night vision goggles. Yeah, just why not?
Why not, dude?
Fuck yeah.
One of the favorite things I love about Spy Kids is I think it's the best you'll ever see Alan Cummings. I think this is the peak of his career.
Yes, I was gonna say Alan Cummings' performance in this film is like legendary. As Flip.
Like, dude, if I met Alan Cummings, I wouldn't mention any of his other work except for Spy Kids. Like, that is his most iconic work.
It's brilliant. It's so good. There's so many people in this movie.
There's like all the celebrities. Like Robert Rodriguez like got everyone he knew to be in this movie. Like George Clooney's like the president, and like Salma Hayek is like, oh no, that's a number 3 she's in. But like bloody Danny Trejo is their uncle.
Antonio Banderas is
he's
father.
the father. It's so good. It's so good, and I love the thumbs. They're so stupid, but they're excellent.
Oh, I was gonna say the best henchman ever. The thumbs,
ever
amazing.
It's so
amazing.
Great. I love the evil clones that they have. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's fucked up in its own way.
Like when we were doing science labs as kids, I wanted to make the 5th brain. I wanted to make all the new brains that like they were doing. Like, I was like, this is fantastic, and I love that room as well, where like Judy Cortez and the other one, they're both walking down the hallway, and like the floor like falls down, but it's just like a plane of glass, and then they actually fall through the floor.
Yes, yeah, dude. There's so many things in this movie that are just like they evoke your childhood.
They're so good.
It's a great time, and I still think it's worth a watch.
And do you remember the Who, What, When, Where, Why song? Because I still sing that to this day. It's like who, what, when,
really?
where, and why. You know, like because do you remember in the second film, there's a post-credit scene where like the sister is like having to like lip sync at this like concert.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
It's so good. So wait, what makes the first film not a 10 out of 10, Brenton? This is where I'm fighting you on. Why is it not a 10 out of 10?
Well, it's not a 10 out of 10. It's not a 10 out of 10. The effects don't hold up. The storyline itself is fine, but like it doesn't hold up. There's a lot of
shame.
There's a lot of I think there's some pacing issues in there as well.
Shame.
I think that again, I love this movie. Like I do, like I love it like to death. But it's a 7 out of 10.
The story is iconic. There's a scene where the car turns to a submarine and they have to drive through a fucking shark layer. How can you say that is not a 10 out of 10 film? There's a scene where they put in like a fucking packet of dry powder that turns into a full meal of McDonald's. How does that in a microwave? How does that not make it a 10 out of 10 film?
Look, listen, there's nothing wrong with being a 7 out of 10, and Spy Kids is that.
They have bloody Cheech from the Stoner films play the uncle of the kids, and is only disguised as a fake moustache, and it's Stoner Cheech playing these kids' uncles. You cannot fault this film, Brenton. I completely refute your 7 out of 10 rating for this movie.
Sure, that's fine, but it's my list, dude. So let's move on to your fifth film.
Okay, my 5th film is Cloverfield.
Oh, I've never seen Cloverfield.
Have you never seen Cloverfield? Okay. Cloverfield is I see, I just want to keep on talking about Spy Kids. Like I want to do a whole podcast just on the Spy Kids movies.
We could do a Spy Kids special. That's fine. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, we'll call it top 7 moments in the Spy Kids trilogy. But yeah, so Cloverfield. So Cloverfield, for those who don't know, is a found footage film set in New York in the mid 2000s, and it's about these bunch of like friends in like their mid to late 20s who are like, they're kind of, they're like the uni students, I think, or they're working, and like they're all kind of, I don't know, it's like Friends a little bit, they're all just trying to get through life, and then and this happens for a while, and then like through the film, suddenly this like alien apocalypse just suddenly hits New York, and the film's a metaphor for 9/11, and like they gotta get from one end of New York to the other and try and escape this giant alien and all these its little minions. It's basically it's basically Godzilla. The film is basically 2014's Godzilla, but I argue maybe better. It's like, it's got TJ Miller, which I'm sure doesn't age that well now because of TJ Miller, but it's got actually not that many famous actors. But it's like it's outstanding, well directed. The tension in it is fantastic, and there's some really good creature effects in this. I don't know. This is like the only found footage film I've seen so far that I've adored, that I think actually really works.
Yeah, cool. Look, I'll have to give it a watch because again, I haven't seen it yet. But well, so what makes this film a 7 out of 10 as opposed to something? That's...
Okay, so it's better than. Lower than 7 out of 10 because like I think this creature effects really hold up even today. The story actually takes surprising directions. Like I was generally surprised about it. The thing that doesn't make it a 10 is that a lot of the actors are kind of shit, and the characters aren't that well defined, and like I know their motivations are sometimes contrived, and they react in ways that aren't that real if you were really in that scenario. But like, right. But I think at the end of the day, I think Mary Elizabeth Winstead, she's in it. She's really, really good in it. Yeah, it's just, I think what makes it really good is that it's classic J.J. Abrams, where you're just constantly wanting to find out more answers. Like there's this huge mystery, and like he really like just keeps you rowing about. So I think this is probably his best film outside Force Awakens.
Wow, right, yeah.
But I think this is actually better than 10 Cloverfield Lane. Have you seen that film?
No, again, I haven't seen any of these films.
Well, because people love 10 Cloverfield Lane, and 10 Cloverfield Lane is an excellent film. But I think this is better simply because of the tension. But like, I still don't think it's a perfect film yet, and it holds that 7 because I think the acting and decision making kind of brings it down. But yeah, Cloverfield, definitely give it a watch, dude. Watch that. Watch the sequel. Don't watch Cloverfield Paradox, it's horseshit. But like, yeah, we'll definitely watch that first film.
Alrighty, man. Well, I'm definitely gonna watch this film. And now I will continue on to my 5th film, which is Star Wars: Return of the Jedi.
Whoa, Return of the Jedi. So we got to be careful here because we're gonna really rip into Star Wars at some point. So
yeah, look, I'm going to keep this short and succinct. I'm just going to say that clearly Return of the Jedi is a 7 out of 10.
I agree with you.
I think that the original... I think the original Star Wars could be a 7 out of 10, but I'd probably clock it in at maybe like a 7.5 to an 8. I don't know. But I think Return of the Jedi is definitely a 7, and that's cool. It has some of the best moments, of that franchise happen in this film. Yeah. But it is then juxtaposed by the fucking Ewoks and just random shit that's just like, all right.
Yeah, oh, okay. Cool. Like, I know, a lot of Star Wars fans, when it comes to Return of the Jedi, they always talk about the bloody Ewoks, and they always talk about, like, Harrison Ford was never meant to be in it, and about, Vader's reveal was, like, anticlimactic. I think, for me, because I agree with you, I think what, for me personally, holds it back from being as strong as, like, A New Hope or Empire is probably just, I think, like, the directing really falls down. Like the forest scene is great, but a lot of it is just like, back and forth talking shots, or like,
yep, it has significant pacing issues. This
and
movie.
Like some of the directing scenes as well are so stupid. Like when bloody Luke is about to walk off the plank. And and Family Guy parodies this quite well. Have you seen the Family Guy Star Wars films?
Oh, dude, they're wonderful.
So good. They are so fucking excellent. But like when Luke's about to walk off the plank, and there's like 20 like quick cuts in succession, and it's like done, done, done. Done, and it just and you see like 30 characters, different reactions for this build up, and it's so stupid, and like
it's so great. It's so see that's funny. Like that is a solid 7. I just think this movie falls down. Obviously, there is pacing issues, the directing, and also I think I just wanted to make the point that, like, I think what makes something like Empire succeed is the fact that, yes, it's a sequel, but it doesn't rely, I guess, on the tropes too many of the tropes of the first film to make it. It goes for something different. You know, we separate the characters, we focus on those characters and try to build relationships and while at the same time moving the plot forward in an interesting direction. Whereas Return of the Jedi feels like such a sequel. Like it's now kind of in that.
Also, because it's trying to tie everything up and it's just trying to like here's your bloody trilogy. Like
but it's just like the opening at Jabba's palace. While like there's some great moments in that, it's just very. It's like the 3 acts. It's like Jabba's palace. Second act is going to Endor, I guess, and then the third act is just the big battle and the confrontation with Vader and the Emperor.
100%, yeah. So like, it needs. I don't know. It would have been great to see something more radical.
Yeah, it's not even that. It's just like even if it was executed better, which goes back to your directing point, I think it could have been really great. But it's still good. It's just, and again, it has some of my favorite scenes from the Star Wars saga are like in this film.
Oh yeah, man! Like, who doesn't love that iconic scene of that musical number at Jabba's palace?
Ooh, be back!
Who else?
Sorry, that's from the special edition. That's not from the.
Who else doesn't forget that memorable scene where C-3PO floats in a chair and spooks the Ewoks?
Oh, dude.
Return of the Jedi.
So yeah, like let's not talk about it too much because we will talk about these films in detail at some stage. Yeah. But tell me, Nathan, what is your sixth film?
My sixth film. So one of my second, near the top we're getting now. So my second favorite 7 out of 10 movie is Project X.
What is Project X?
Whoa! Have you never heard of Project X?
No, genuinely no.
What? Dude, where were you when we were growing up? Like Project X, it's like this film from like I don't know the early 10s. I think it's like 2011 or 12 or 13 or something like that. It might be 2012. It's this film. How do you pitch Project X? It's this kid's 18th-year-old birthday party, and he's turning 18, and he lives in like some random suburb in LA, and his parents are leaving town for the weekend to go on some trip, and so he has the house to himself, and so he decides to throw the biggest party ever, and the whole film is...
Oh, I have heard of this, actually. Continue. I haven't seen it. So,
dude,
yeah.
It's like because I think I was like 16 when this film came out, and like every person who was 16 when this film came out, like our age bracket, like wanted to be at this party. It is the greatest party film you will ever watch. Like... It's like so wild, and it's like people just drinking everywhere. It has like the best soundtrack. Like it's got such bangers all throughout the movie. It's like... It's just full of them doing dumb shit at a party. Like, they have like a jumping castle that everyone's like jumping around in and like getting high and that kind of stuff. This movie is the reason why I had a jumping castle at my birthday party when I turned 18. When my parents were like, oh, do you want to have like an 18th at the house? I'm like, yes. And they're like, oh, do you want to like us to get like a bowl of chips for it or something like that? I'm like, the only thing I want for my birthday is a bloody jumping castle on my 18th. And by God, did I get a jumping castle on my 18th. No, this film's like great. Like you watch this kid like be pressured to do all this like dumb shit, and it's so funny. There's like a point in the film. I don't want to spoil too much for you, but like there's a point in the film, where they try and steal some weed for the party off this guy for the party, and then later on in the film, the guy rocks up to the party to get his weed back, and he has a flamethrower.
Holy, whoa,
and
really?
The film escalates so much. Like by the end of the movie, it's like. It is the most insane thing you might see in cinema. Like it is so good. Like the film turns from a party movie to a very different movie very quickly, and it is outstanding. So,
wow.
The thing that stops us from being a 10 out of 10 movie is that it isn't that well directed. It's kind of like found footage-esque. Like that's the premise of the film. Like it's meant to be shot by one of the kids who are like making like some home video. But like, and I respect that decision, but I still feel they could have done more interesting things with it. It is quite misogynistic. It is very much from like the frat boy kind of point of view. So the female characters don't have that much agency. Also like the acting isn't that good because it's mostly unknowns and that kind of stuff. But your favorite actor, Brenton Miles Teller, does make a cameo appearance.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And he's great in it. But yeah, so Project X. If for anything else, watch this movie for the soundtrack. I think it's on Netflix. Yeah, if you ever want to get G'd up for a party, like these days, the reason I put on Project X is to have on in the background when I'm preying for a night out with some mates, and like this is the film to get you G'd up for any event. Like you'll be so keen to party watching this movie.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a watch, man. Can't wait to give it a watch and learn how to party, so to speak.
Like you've never partied before.
So my number 6 is a choice that I hope you know. It's A Knight's Tale.
Oh, I do know A Knight's Tale. Is this because you made me watch this in drama back in the day?
Did I actually?
Yeah. Is this the film where Peter Dinklage is in it and
Oh no.
Oh, that's Your Highness. No. Sorry, I'm so messing it up.
No. Peter Dinklage isn't in Your Highness, but no, it's not that. This is
What's A Knight's Tale? I don't think I do know this.
Your Highness goes in the category of so bad that it's
Oh
good.
yes.
This is A Knight's Tale. This stars Heath Ledger.
I don't know this movie.
Oh, you don't know this movie, dude? Holy crap, man. This is amazing. It is
7 out of 10 amazing? What?
Dude, it probably deserves better. It is glorious.
I mean, you gave it the
movie.
rating of 7 out of 10. Like, what makes it a 7 out of 10 film?
It's just kind of, it's in that bracket, man. It's something that's not gonna, like, win all the awards at the Oscars. It's just a fun movie. And the premise, I guess, of the movie is that, Heath Ledger plays a squire of a knight who is unfortunately killed in a tournament. And him and his fellow squires and, you know, this knight's team decide that Heath Ledger's character should pose as a knight in order to take part in the tournament so they can, you know, get some gold and live. And it kind of follows their journey as Heath Ledger's character becomes an imposing figure on the sport that is jousting and, you know, swordplay and tournaments.
Okay.
You know, it's at the same time it's got it's like set in medieval times, but it's got like a modern edge to it. Like the film opens like playing "We Will Rock You" by Queen.
Oh my
and, like,
goodness!
The crowds at the tournament are all doing the boom boom, 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 but like all in medieval.
Oh my gosh! Really?
It's bizarre. It's like Paul Bettany's in it.
Oh really?
Yeah, Mark Addy's in it. Alan Tudyk's in it.
What a weird cast.
It's oh dude, it's great. It's a good time. Genuinely, I think it's such a fun movie and a solid 7 again. Like it's just
there you go. What stops it from being a 10?
Probably some of the dialogue isn't as well developed as it could be.
Okay. Can you just to sell the film to me, can you tell me like a great scene that exists in this movie?
Yes, I can. I can tell you many great scenes. I can tell you Paul Bettany's introduction is that basically the team is turned away from this tournament, and they're not turned away. They're heading towards this tournament and they're trying to figure out how to get themselves into the tournament through this lie basically.
Yeah.
And they come across Paul Bettany's character who's just walking down the road just like completely naked, just like he just like kind of strolls past them and they're like, what the fuck? Like, who's this? And they have this scene and going on from Paul Bettany's character, his first kind of like introduction in the sense that he becomes like the announcer for the team and like basically sells the lie. And when he gets up and like gives this introduction to Heath Ledger's knight, it's pretty brilliant. The other scenes I want to say that I remember is just because it is a comedy at the same time as well. It's just the banter between Tudyk, Bettany, and Addy is just is top class. They kill it, and then as well as like Heath Ledger, and there's a whole romantic subplot as well.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, man.
What's more fun to watch, like this or Kevin Costner's Robin Hood?
This.
Oh wow,
this for sure. Yeah, like Kevin Costner's Robin Hood again. Like it's a great movie, but it's a longer. It's more drawn out. It's a bit more epic. This is a bit.
Okay.
This is I think it's under 2 hours, and it's just a fun, good time.
Fantastic, dude. All right, I'm keen.
Again, doesn't take itself serious. Dude, we should watch it. When did this come out? 2001. We got a couple
Oh, we're getting close to it though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time. So Nathan,
Yes.
we've both listed 6 films. Take us home, Country Roads. What is your seventh? What is your seventh 7
All
out
right.
of 10?
Okay. So Brenton, my number 1, my top 7 out of 10 film. I hope you're gonna love this. Like the top film that I think my favorite of the 7 out of 10s is the early 2000s hit Scooby-Doo.
Oh my god, what a great choice. Well done, dude.
You should have
round of applause for Nathan.
You should have seen Brenton's face just
Wow.
then. It went from like trepidation to like kid riding his first roller coaster, like happiness.
Why the fuck isn't this on my list? That's such a perfect, dude.
It is.
That's awesome.
It is.
Actually, I'm tempted to change my last film to this because this deserves to be in there. Dude, what a pick. Continue. Amazing.
It's the best 7 out of 10 film. It is the perfect film that encapsulates a 7 out of 10 rating. And I adore it to death, and I accept its faults to death, and like it is so good. It's got so many factors in it that works. It was written by James Gunn, Guardians of the Galaxy's James Gunn. It stars.
Was it actually?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's why it's so good. It was written by James Gunn, and it stars Rowan Atkinson as Scrappy Doo, like as a dog in a man's. Oh, by the way, spoilers for Scooby Doo, as a dog in a man's body, which is one of the best twists I've ever seen in my life. Every actor who plays the characters, like the original gang, is outstanding. I love the chick who plays Velma. I love the guy who plays Shaggy. It took me years after watching this film to finally work out that Scooby snacks were a metaphor for drugs. For years, I never got why Shaggy loved eating the Scooby snacks. And then I'm like, oh, they're stoner cookies. And then I got concerned because the dog's eating it as well. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe they are a little bit different. Oh, I love like his weird girlfriend subplot in the movie. I love that there's a subplot where they randomly swap bodies for no reason. Like...
I'm saying this right now. I'm calling it. Shock horror. I'm changing my last film to Scooby-Doo on my list because I think that everything you've just said, like, encapsulates what this episode, what this list is all about. This film is a 7 out of 10, and that's okay.
And it's so good.
It's so good. The whole part where they're like in the haunted house that like has been like shut down.
That is an outstanding sequence.
And then they made the ride at Movie World and like
Oh my
based
God.
it on that.
The best thing this movie has given us is on the Gold Coast. There's a roller coaster ride where they recreated the Scooby coaster, and it is the best thing that man has ever built.
Dude, it is like the best ride.
It is so good.
I
love that you
ride.
and I grew up on the Gold Coast, so we got to do this like every year, this Scooby-Doo coaster, and it is so good. It's if you
Dude,
ever go to the Gold Coast.
It makes me want to get back there now.
I know.
And just ride it again.
Oh, dude, why are we not doing this podcast on the Scooby-Doo coaster? Because it's outstanding. Like, it's so good. I love.
Man. Like, great choice.
It's so good.
Just
There's
solid stuff.
Like so the reason it's not a 10 is because the CGI monster effect does not hold up. It is a bad.
No, they
effect.
don't.
The weird kind of cult scene at the end is a little bit off. Like, it doesn't really fit anymore. Like, I don't know. I never really loved it that much. Where they're all like in like they go ooh Scooby Doo Scooby and they're all like dancing around like with Scrappy Doo and all that kind of stuff. The guy who plays the henchman, I didn't think was that good in it.
Oh, the like the ball.
Yeah. And like he has a fight with like Daphne at the end, and I'm like, oh.
Oh no, not him. I mean the other guy, the guy that's like that like says the scary story, like and in the. But you're referring to the wrestling dude.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like
Okay.
like there's also that guy who's like the Jamaican dude, I think, who has like that shack out, and he's like, "Get off Spooky Island," and you're just like, oh, I love it so much. Like, it's so great.
Dude,
I love it.
this movie's great.
It's so excellent.
Everyone is perfectly cast in this movie.
Oh,
too.
Freddie
Like,
Highmore,
the
not
team
Freddie
itself.
Highmore. The guy who plays Fred.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah, he does such
Freddie
a great
Prinze
job.
Jr.
Like, I love it so much. I love
The guy who plays Shaggy is just out of this world.
he
good.
nails it.
Like,
He makes Shaggy's my favorite
perfect.
character in that film. Like, he's so good.
Same.
I even love
Yeah.
the opening scene where they're stopping the ghost at the factory. I thought it's
Yes.
a great opening as well. It's like a great homage to old Scooby-Doo.
Dude, I remember seeing this movie at the cinema and just having an absolute blast. I remember when they did the flashback of the Scrappy-Doo scene of him in the truck, and then that in the end it was Scrappy-Doo that was the villain all along. I was just like, oh man, it blew my little mind. I was like, this is something else. And then I found out it was filmed on the Gold Coast, and I was like, what is going on?
Do you wish you could go to Spooky Island as a real place?
I would sign that petition for Spooky Island to be made.
Oh,
Yes,
fantastic.
please. I would be there in a flash.
I will do it too, especially because they filmed it on Moreton Island, which is just opposite Brisbane. And you and I have been to Moreton
Yeah,
Island,
exactly.
and like it's the exact opposite of Spooky Island, and so they could so do that, and it'd be amazing for tourism if they actually built a theme park on that island.
So yeah, I'm changing my last
What was
one.
yours gonna be, if you don't mind asking?
I don't want to
Oh,
reveal
okay.
it.
You want to save it. You want to save it.
It's gonna be fucking controversial.
Oh, okay.
If I
maybe
reveal this
tell me
film.
off air.
I will, ladies and gentlemen. You might find out one day.
Tell you what, you could if you email us or if you email the podcast, we'll email back to you telling you what it was for Brenton. So just
Yeah,
drop
yeah.
in one to our inbox
If
saying,
you-
"Hey guys, I actually generally want to know," and I promise we'll write back.
If enough people tweet me at CMB Brenton, I might let you know. I don't know. It might blow your mind. You might be able to recover.
Well,
out of-
the reason Scooby-Doo doesn't get a 10 is because I think also the music doesn't hold up that well. Like, it is very early 2000s. Like,
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where
it's like
are
that weird
you?
rock Green Day version of it. But like, also just like during the
Yeah.
film, it's like there's so much like early 2000s like pop music as they're all just running about the island. I'm like, oh, and like the fashion as well is so early 2000s. Like all the guys have got like spiky hair and like, oh, it's like,
Dude, it's great, man. Come
oh,
on.
it's so good.
That's not a criticism. That's just the times, dude.
It's just the times, man. I know. I would have liked to see a version of it.
Rowan Atkinson gives a great.
Oh, he
performance
gives
in
it
that
his all.
film
Like,
as
he's
well.
fully committed. Like, he is not the issue with that movie. I would have been curious to see what it would have been like if it was set in the 60s. Like, they did the same movie, but just a 1960s version.
Sure, yeah, would have been interesting. Yeah, Scooby-Doo, dude. Great choice. Great pick
Yeah.
from both of us.
Scooby-Oo
there.
2 is a whole other story, which maybe one day we'll talk about as well.
No, yeah, definitely. I haven't seen it enough times. Not nearly enough times.
Long story short, Scooby-Doo 2 is nowhere near as good as Scooby-Doo 1.
But yeah, that's our top 7 out of 10.
Yeah, those are films we Brenton, we reached consensus. We've done what most governments cannot. We've crossed the aisle, we've shook hands and said, you know what? 7 out of 10.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Well, thank you for joining me today, Nathan. I had a blast doing our top 7s.
Yeah, this is great, dude. I love it when a new season comes around. We just get to kick back and not have to, work as hard, frankly. You and I can just we just don't have to work, Brenton, and we can just celebrate our love of cinema, and we actually can focus on more recent cinema as much as we love old cinema.
It's been a pleasure today. Thank you for joining me. To our listeners out there, we will see you for one of these the next season. But until then, hey, we're just going to be doing movie reviews each week. We're nothing's changing here. We'll go back to normal. Don't stress. But yeah. Until then, tweet at us. Let us know what your top 7.
Definitely let us know your 7 out of 10s. Like, and also if you violently disagree with one of us, cough, Brenton's horrendous 7 out of 10 labeling for Spy Kids, then let us know why it should have been better or worse. So tweet at us or tweet at him.
No, please, whichever one. just let us know your opinion. I'd love to hear it. But Nathan,
Yes?
what an episode.
What an episode.
What a time.
But Brenton, I'm not changing my rating. Fuck you. -7 out of 10.
I don't think I'll be here next week, guys.
What?
Bye.